Hello everybody, this is another one of Bag Lectures. Today we're going to be going over the practical use of Monk rather than just a theoretical. I am here at a level 90 striking dummy in a decently lit area, so you'll be able to focus on the buffs and debuffs applied on the enemy a little bit better than you would otherwise. We are going to go over the basic rotation as well as how to improve the gauges. A bit of a heads up, I do use controller, and I use a bit of an odd layout for my controller, so don't be too focused on what buttons I am pressing and where they are, so much so that I am pressing those buttons. You'll notice certain buttons are not here. I have a few buttons set on my cross hotbar, including buttons I don't even need anymore. Actually, let me go ahead and fix that now. You will never need this skill. In fact, actually, yeah. You will never need this skill. Ever. Gone. Remove it. If you have already finished your relic weapon, you'll never need that. I don't know why I have it. Mounts, potions, I need to get more of them. But anyways, here we are. With a monk as a melee DPS, you're always going to want to be focused towards where the line itself on the donut vanishes. Northwards is always going to be where the flank begins, southwards is where the rear begins. When you're getting ready to use monk from level 70 onwards, the first thing you want to do is press meditation. Outside of combat, this will fully fill your chakra gauge and prepare it to use the Forbidden Chakra. The Forbidden Chakra, notably, does 340 potency as an instant ability, no need to wait for a cooldown. Free damage. By comparison, most skills that you're going to be using will be doing around 300 to 310 at most when you're using it. So let's go over the basic rotation. I'm going to start off slow and then work my way up to full speed, hopefully making it a little bit more clear what I'm doing. One of the first buttons you're going to press when preparing for combat is Form Shift. Form Shift is the reason it's set in such a strange way, because you really only use it once at the beginning of a fight. That's why it's set as double tap RT up directional pad. It's not very often used. When you use Form Shift, it grants Formless Fist. That is this buff here. What this means is that you can just use any button. All of your buttons are available. I point this out. Oh, I can't seem to be able to remove it. That's interesting. You're usually able to remove buffs. So we're just going to let that sit and run out. There we go. And you'll notice that most of the options I have vanished. They are I can't select them. Monk requires forms in order to use abilities. At the base form, which is no form, you can use Boot Shine, Dragon Kick, and Shadow of the Destroyer. That's it. You get 3. We are going to start off with Dragon Kick to show what the general idea is. Now that we've begun our attack, you'll see that I have switched to Raptor form and can now use True Strike or Twin Snakes. I'm going to use Twin Snakes because that gives me another buff, Disciplined Fist, increasing my damage dealt. This you should always do. This will also put me into Coral form, allowing me to use either Snap Punch or Demolish. I'm going to go ahead and use Demolish. Now, Demolish is a positional. It deals additional damage when you're in the rear. I didn't. Demolish, it does damage over time, and you can see the timer over here. I have it moved over to the side so it's a little bit easier to see for this video. Also, I'm in Oppo Oppo form, and now Boot Shine has a highlight. And we can go through those same forms again. 1, 2, 3. You'll notice that I'm counting, but I'm actually really one behind what I'm doing. My 1, 2, 3 combo opens form 2, 3, and 1. And if you just click these buttons one at a time, you'll already be doing pretty good. There's a little bit of improvement that you can make. But doing every single skill alternating like this, that's actually pretty good for level 50 to 80 when your cooldown is above 2 seconds. Now this is pretty simple, and I'm not using any of my chakras, so let's go ahead and use those chakras. I'm going to press the Forbidden Chakra, and that's going to do a bunch of damage, and now I have 0 chakras. When I deal damage, if I get a critical hit, a chakra opens. It's a great way to keep track of what you're doing. If you're getting a lot of crits, this will fill up pretty quickly. I'm being very deliberate of not pressing a certain button just yet. There we go, we got 5 crits. We can use the Forbidden Chakra. Boot Shine is very neat because when you're in Oppo Oppo form, it guarantees a crit. So you will always open a chakra going from Oppo Oppo form to Boot Shine. In this way, you could theoretically just fish for crits this way. Not the best way to go about it, but you can do it. As we continue. Now that's our 6 buttons. Let's go over what those 6 buttons end up looking like in a full-blown combo. I'm going to start off using Form Shift, just so we can imagine that I've started this in the middle of my combat. I'm going to start off with Dragon Kick. Then I'm going to go to Twin Snakes. I'm going to position myself towards the rear and use Demolish. I now have both my buff from Dragon Kick and Oppo Oppo form, so I will use Boot Shine. I will then use True Strike, position myself at the flank, and use Snap Punch. And now we repeat, with Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, and because I've been going slow, it's time to use Demolish again. Boot Shine, True Strike, Snap Punch. Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes. I still have time for Demolish, so I will use Snap Punch. Boot Shine, True Strike, get in position, Demolish. Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, my Demolish timer is good, Snap Punch. Boot Shine, True Strike, Snap Punch. And now we can go back to Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, and Demolish. And the way that I have it laid out is that anytime I'm about to use Dragon Kick, I'm also going to use Twin Snakes. Anytime I go to use Boot Shine, I also use True Strike. It's a nice and easy way to think about it without having to worry too much about, do I need to bring Discipline Fist up? Am I going to need to get Leaden Fist to get the Boot Shine buff? It all works pretty well. And as you see, whenever I get 5 chakras, my Forbidden Chakra lights up, and I can just use it right then and there. Now, if I was getting critical hits more often, this would be very easy to show, but when it lights up, press it. Unless you're using it on like a trash mob, you might want to hold it for a little bit. But it is free damage. With all that in mind, let's now go over some other things. Perfect balance. That's this button I have over here. I have it over here so I don't accidentally press it in the middle of my combo. When perfect balance is activated, you get 3 stacks, and it allows you to use any 3 skills. This little gauge right here next to my chakra gauge, that's what's going to fill when I use it. I'm going to enter combat to show that. When I use it, all of a sudden every skill lights up. I'm going to do a basic 1-2-3 combo of Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, and Demolish. Coincidentally, this shows you all 3 symbols you can expect, and a timer. I have 15-ish seconds to use Rising Phoenix. You see that button has changed from Masterful Blitz. And now that I've used it, the white circle has filled in. Now if I go and I use Perfect Balance again, only this time I use Boot Shine, Dragon Kick, and Boot Shine again, the button is now Elixir Field. And when I press the button, I use a different skill, and the purple circle fills in. Now that I have both of them filled, I'm going to press Perfect Balance again. And I'm going to press Dragon Kick, Twin Snakes, and True Strike. And now we see Phantom Rush. Whenever both of your chakras are filled, and you have all 3 of these, this will always be Phantom Rush no matter what these 3 are. Now you'll notice that Formless Fist appears whenever you finish a blitz. This allows you to basically hop back into your combo wherever on Earth you were, without having to think about where you actually were. So you can just keep going back and forth and forth and back. Now I'm going to show you something you should avoid. I showed you what happens when you have 3 different, and I've showed you what happens when you have 3 of the same. I'm going to intentionally flub my combo, and now you will see we have Celestial Revolution. Celestial Revolution is a single target attack that does less damage than Elixir Field or Rising Phoenix. You do not want this. Let's go over a few other monk-specific abilities. Shadow of the Destroyer is an AoE attack, as is 4-Point Fury, as is Rockbreaker. Thankfully, their AoE combo is a lot easier to understand. They also have a line AoE called Enlightenment. And as you can see, it goes decently far. The downside, of course, is that it is a line AoE. This is not the most graceful way of showing it. In fact, what I'll do is I'll intentionally stand in between them, because the neat thing about critical hit calculation is that any one skill can open at most 1 chakra. But if you get a crit on one enemy, but not a crit on another, it still counts. So as long as one of these get a critical hit, I can get my chakra. Pretty neat. So now that we've got that in mind, let's go over a few of the other skills we have. Mantra is a monk-specific ability that increases HP by increases HP recovery through healing by 10% for yourself and nearby party members. This is a form of mitigation I forgot to go over in the other video. Basically, if you're about to get a raid wide or your healers are about to feel a great need to heal everybody, use this button. It's a 90-second cooldown. Your healers will thank you. Everybody will thank you. Let's go over the other buttons we have. Thunderclap is an ability that just lets you dash to any particular person. I don't have any party members here, so I can't use it on them, but it can be used on either enemies or party members. It's your gap closer. I've used all 3 of them that I have. I'm going to go back to this robot here. We also have a button that does the opposite. It gets you away. In this case, 6-sided star is our friend. If you need to get away, use this skill. but don't do anything else, because you have to wait quite a while before you can use another skill. You'll notice it gave you a buff. This buff increases your move speed. By quite a bit, I might add. Great for getting out of the way, or just doing one last attack before getting out of before the boss dies. Other than that, you don't usually use this button very often. I've avoided talking about these 4 buttons because, well, one of them doesn't really do anything because I can't take damage against a striking dummy. But let's talk about Riddle of Wind. You've been seeing how often I've been auto-attacking, but if I press Riddle of Wind, I'm attacking a lot faster. About every second, to be honest. Actually, let's check. Just how fast is Monk's auto attack? 2.56. So that would have been about 1.3 seconds. Yep, that sounds about right. I just was timing in my head there. We now have Riddle of Fire, which increases damage dealt by 15%, and Brotherhood, which increases damage dealt by 5%. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually run through this and show you what the opener for Monk looks like. We're going to act like I don't have this open for now, and we're just going to act like this is a fresh start. Usually, you'll want to do Form Shift, Dragon Kick, Brotherhood, Twin Snakes, Riddle of Fire, Demolish. And you'll want to weave a little bit faster than what I'm doing, but I'm intentionally going slow so it's hopefully obvious what I am doing. And there we go. Within the first, not even 30 seconds of the fight, you've used Perfect Balance twice, and you're now on your rotation. And this is basically how Monk plays. Most of the buttons you aren't touching. Now, you do touch more buttons than most other DPS do in your rotation, but it's overall pretty relaxed. One way that I like to look at it is that if you really need to keep track of the timers, wait until Demolish is about a little less than 7 seconds. Riddle of Fire has just recharged, so we're now going to use any 3 skills at all. I'm even going to do my combo roll to show you. Still fine. This is it. This is how you play Monk. Overall, fairly simple. Because it goes a lot faster, you don't have a whole lot of options to weave skills. You'll notice that whenever I am doing things, I only have time to weave 1 skill. And that is something inherent to classes and animations in this game. So I'm going to tell this to stop being mad at me. If you've ever played certain classes, you'll know that you can't just press off cooldown skills non-stop. I'm going to try to press a few of them all at once. You'll see, you can't do it all at once. It forces a delay. There's a 0.7 second delay to most abilities and skills in this game. Because of that, you don't get the full 2 seconds to yourself. In fact, I don't even get that. I get 1.9 seconds, which is way too much skill speed, period. Ignoring the fact that this is way too much skill speed even for Monk, let's talk about what that means for us. of this 1.9 seconds, you really only have 1.2 seconds to use a skill. And because you can't have that overlapping with the real time you have, you really only get half a second to use a skill. That means you cannot double weave. You can only single weave. This can be a problem. Say I am trying to do things like prepare Brotherhood or Riddle of Fire, but my Forbidden Chakra goes off. I need to press this because otherwise I'm wasting skills. I'm wasting critical hits that I can't fill this gauge with. But I would clip otherwise. For example, I'll attack this again. You'll see that took its sweet time. I'm going to do it again to kind of prove the idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to boot shine Perfect Balance and then try to use Forbidden Chakra. Actually, no, I'll use Bloodbath because it's easier. You saw, I physically couldn't. By the time it was time to use it, it was too late. Now, when I have time, it's fine. It's not an issue if I use it early. If I don't use it early, though, and I wait... Actually, that went a little too smoothly. Let's try that again. Usually, I'm not this good at timing things. But let's say it happens now. Here it's low stakes, so it's not super noticeable, but when you're getting this over and over again because your friends are giving you chakras all over the place, it's a bit of a problem. But this has been a very scuffed, probably really bad overview on how to play Monk. Wow, we've really been going for 22 minutes. Alright, that's all I've got for today. If you liked this video, go ahead and do the usual thing of liking it. If you disliked it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. Leave a comment telling me why you didn't like it. Go ahead and subscribe if you really think it's a good idea. And I will see you next time for another one of these videos. Maybe I'll cover another class once Dawn Trail comes out. But who knows? We'll see. Have a good one.